Hey everyone, and welcome back to Everyday English Convos. I'm Sam, and I'm here with my co-host, Daniel. This podcast is designed to help English language learners hear natural, conversational English in action. Today, we're talking about something that affects everyone living in Los Angeles: transportation. How do you get around this massive city?
Hey Sam, hey everyone. Yeah, this is such a relevant topic for LA. I mean, people always ask us about getting around the city, and honestly, Sam and I have completely different approaches to transportation here.
That's so true. I'm definitely the typical LA person. I drive everywhere. I have a car, and honestly, I can't imagine living here without one. But Daniel, you're like the complete opposite, right?
Yeah, exactly. I don't own a car. I rely on public transportation and my e-bike to get around. I know it sounds crazy to some people, but it actually works pretty well for me.
Right? People think you're crazy. So let's dive into this. Why don't you start, Daniel? What's your typical day like getting around LA without a car?
Well, for my daily commute to work, I actually take the metro. I live near a red line station, so I can get downtown in about 25 minutes. And for shorter trips around my neighborhood, like going to the grocery store or meeting friends, I use my e-bike.
Interesting. And how do you feel about that? Like, are you happy with that setup?
You know what? I actually really enjoy it. On the metro, I can read, listen to podcasts, or even get some work done on my laptop. When I'm biking, I feel more connected to the city.
Mm,
I notice things I'd never see from inside a car. New restaurants, street art, people. Plus, I'm getting exercise as part of my daily routine.
that's a good point about the exercise. But what about when the weather's bad or if you need to carry a lot of stuff?
Well, the weather thing is less of an issue here in LA since it rarely rains, right? And for carrying stuff, I've got a good backpack and panniers on my bike. For really big shopping trips, I'll take the metro or sometimes use a rideshare app.
Right, that makes sense. Now, I have to ask, doesn't it take forever to get places? I mean, LA is so spread out. With my car, I can zip from West Hollywood to Santa Monica in like 30 minutes, depending on traffic.
But that's depending on traffic, right? During rush hour, that same drive could take you an hour or more. The Metro Expo line to Santa Monica is pretty reliable, about 45 minutes from downtown, and I know exactly when I'll arrive.
Yeah, okay, you got me there. Traffic can be brutal. But what about spontaneity? Like, what if you want to go somewhere on a whim or if there's an emergency?
That's definitely one of the challenges. I have to plan ahead more than you do. But for emergencies, rideshare apps are pretty quick, and honestly, I've become more intentional about my travel.
What do you mean?
Well, instead of just jumping in a car and driving wherever, I think about whether I really need to make that trip. I combine errands, I choose restaurants and activities that are accessible by metro or bike. It's made me more mindful about how I spend my time.
Huh, that's interesting. I never thought about it that way. So, what about costs? I imagine you're saving money not having a car payment, insurance, gas.
Oh, absolutely. That's actually one of the biggest benefits. My monthly Metro Pass is $100, plus maybe another $50 for occasional ride shares and bike maintenance. So I'm spending about $150 a month total on transportation.
Wow, really? That's way less than I spend. My car payment alone is $400 a month, plus insurance is another $180, and I probably spend $200 on gas, and that's not even counting parking fees.
Right? And parking in A can be such a nightmare and so expensive.
Don't even get me started on parking. Downtown or in West Hollywood, you're looking at $15 to $25 just to park for a few hours. And finding a spot can take 20 minutes sometimes.
Exactly. With my bike, I can usually find bike parking pretty easily, and most metro stations have bike racks, so I can combine both methods.
Okay, so you're making me think about the downsides of having a car, but there are definitely upsides for me too. Like the convenience and freedom are huge. I can leave whenever I want, I have my own space, my own music.
Oh, totally.
And if I want to take a weekend trip to San Diego or go hiking in the mountains, having a car makes that so much easier.
Yeah, that's definitely true. For longer trips outside the city, a car is really convenient. I sometimes rent one for weekend getaways, but you're right. Having your own car gives you more spontaneity for those kinds of adventures.
What about safety? Do you ever feel unsafe on public transit or biking around the city?
That's a fair question. The metro can be interesting sometimes. You definitely encounter all walks of life, but I've never had any serious problems.
Mm-hmm.
I just stay aware of my surroundings and avoid traveling late at night when I can. As for biking, LA has been adding more protected bike lanes, which helps a lot. But yeah, you have to be defensive and wear bright colors, use lights at night, that sort of thing.
Right. And I have to admit, sometimes I feel bad about my environmental impact. Cars produce a lot of emissions, especially with all the driving I do in LA traffic.
Yeah, that's definitely one of the things I feel good about with my lifestyle choice. Public transit and biking have a much smaller carbon footprint. It's not perfect, but it's something.
So tell me about your e-bike. I've been seeing more of those around lately. What's that like?
Oh man, I love my e-bike. It's honestly been a game changer. It's got an electric motor that assists when you pedal, so I can cover longer distances without getting too tired or sweaty. Hills that used to be impossible are now totally manageable.
How far can you go on a charge?
Mine can go about 40 miles on a full charge, but that depends on how much you use the assist and how hilly the terrain is. For my daily needs, I usually charge it maybe twice a week.
That's pretty impressive. What did it cost you, if you don't mind me asking?
I paid about $2,000 for mine, which is kind of mid-range. You can get cheaper ones for around $1,000 or go crazy expensive for $5,000 or more. But even at $2,000, it paid for itself pretty quickly when I think about what I would have spent on gas and parking.
Wow, that's actually not bad when you put it that way. What about your social life? Does not having a car affect your dating or hanging out with friends?
Ha! That's the question everyone asks. And honestly, it's been fine. Sometimes I meet people at places that are metro accessible, or they pick me up, or we meet somewhere I can bike to. It's actually been a good conversation starter on dates.
Really?
Yeah, people are curious about it, and it kind of filters out anyone who's too hung up on material stuff or status symbols.
That's an interesting way to think about it. So, overall, you're happy with your car-free lifestyle?
Yeah, I really am. It's not for everyone, and I know that. If I had kids or lived in a different part of LA with less transit access, I might make different choices. But for my situation right now, it works great.
That's awesome. And talking to you has made me think about maybe trying some alternatives. Maybe I should take the metro sometimes just to see what it's like.
You should. Maybe start with a weekend trip when it's less crowded. The Expo line to Santa Monica is actually pretty scenic, and then you can walk along the beach.
You know what? I might just do that. Well, this has been such a fascinating conversation. I think our listeners can see that there's no one right way to get around LA. It really depends on your personal situation, priorities, and what works for your lifestyle.
Absolutely. The key is being open to different options and not assuming that what works for other people has to work for you.
Perfectly said. All right, everyone, that's a wrap for today's episode of Everyday English Convos. Thanks for listening, and remember, conversations like this are great practice for understanding how native speakers really talk, with pauses, interruptions, and natural flow.
And next week, we'll be talking about food culture in LA, from food trucks to fine dining and everything in between. Should be delicious.
Can't wait! Until then, keep practicing your English, and we'll see you next time. Bye, everyone.
Peace.